Welcome back to Obsolete Automotive. I'm Austin, and today's video is on my 1961 Chrysler Newport Highlander, four-door hardtop. Well, let's take a closer look. Now, the first thing people say is, why is this car in primer? And it's not. This is actually the factory paint color, which is dove gray. You can see in the door jambs, it's gray. It's like that in the trunk and everything as well. You don't really see this color, and I will admit that when it's a little faded and chalky, it looks like primer. Now, 1961 was the last year of the big fins, as you can see here. These start at the driver's door all the way back. Now, what makes this a four-door hardtop is the fact that there's no center pillar here. You open the door, there's no post. I left the other side up so you can see the difference. This is with the windows up. Now, what makes this a Highlander is the interior. You got the tartan cloth inserts. The front seat was reupholstered at some point, which was probably a mistake because this Highlander cloth is like bionic. You cannot kill it. So I'm guessing they probably had some damage to it and they decided to replace it with a cloth that looks similar, but that was a mistake. Here's the original cloth. You can see this stuff is pretty robust. Now, the Highlander name was used in the 40s, and I believe they used pretty much the exact same cloth insert. In 1961 and 62, they offered this again, and in the 70s, they offered it one more time, and they all used the same plaid insert. There was also a blue version, at least in 1962. I owned one of those cars. I also owned a 62 Chrysler Newport Highlander, which was red on the inside, just like this. Now, there's no badging or anything like that. It says it's a Highlander. In the 40s, they did have badges that said Highlander, but in the 60s, they didn't. I'm not sure about the 70s. I think they only offered it for 1 year. And I don't recall if it had special nameplates. I don't think it did. Now, I bought this car because I just think the interior is super cool. Like, it's just loud. It's crazy to think that you could get an interior like this in a car. And from what I gather, you can get this red interior with a black car, a white car, gray, and silver, I believe, was the only exterior colors I've seen with this. It is pretty rare. I don't think there's any production figures on the Highlander itself on how many they made for any of the years. This car, I think, originally came out of South Dakota, so it's in really good shape. There's no rot on the body. The floors and trunk floor are pretty much perfect. At some point, the motor was removed and put back in. Under the hood is a 361 big block. This car is equipped with power steering and factory air conditioning. You can see the factory air box there and the compressor. And the cool thing about the factory air cars is they had these neat snorkel vents on the dash. So you got 4 of them, and they rotate and they close, so you can push them down to direct the airflow however you want them. And there is also a vent over here on the driver's side. as well as this control here that says floor air, which will direct it down there under those floor registers. Now these cars, 60 to 62, had the Astra Dome. All the gauges are inside of here, and they had what was called electroluminescent lighting. So there's no bulbs in this. Actually, every part of the gauge is electrified with fluorescent paint. So when it gets a charge, it glows. It looks really cool. They use that basic concept on a lot of other cars. The 60s Chargers used them. Imperials used them. For Chrysler, it was 60 to 62. And it's got this blue glow. It's hard to explain. I had a 62 New Yorker, and it had a working gauge. There's a little transformer down here that powers it all. So when it does work, it looks really awesome. It looks very space age. You can see the gauges and everything are just kind of stacked in there. But I got switches here on the side, so it's a dome light switch. If you had a power antenna, that's what would control that. And we have a map light switch here. And rear window would be like your rear defrost. And I'm not sure if on a station wagon, if this would be for rolling the rear window up and down. I've not had a 62 Chrysler or any 60, 62 Chrysler wagon, so I'm not really sure on that one. Headlight switch would be here. It's been removed. The knob is up there. And then we got our headlight or wiper switch here, which I need to tighten that knob down. Now these cars, since there was no room for a turn signal lever, your turn signals are here. So you left or right. Now this is a torque flat 3-speed automatic, so we get the push button drive. And our heater controls over here. So you slide this over for warmer. And then this one is air conditioning control. So we got max cool, you know, things like that wouldn't necessarily be on the standard cars. Got our radio here with matching push buttons, on off, tuning. All important ashtray down here. And glove box, which was opening. Oh, there we go. We got manual crank windows. And pull that back to open the door, push it forward to lock the door. This car does not run, obviously, since the engine is kind of partially apart and some of the pieces are in the trunk. Do have an original forward look aluminum key. And there's the extra pieces that are supposed to go under the engine bay. We got a radiator and shroud, some air conditioning components, the drive shaft, air cleaner, some miscellaneous stuff that was with the car. Trunk floor is all there in nice shape. And if you know anything about these 60, 61, 62 Chryslers, you'll know that this trunk area here always rots out because, as you can see, it's not a great design. It's got a lip here, so water just sits here. So unless the car is being driven a lot, this would just fill up with water and leaves and trash and then rot out. And you can see the original Dove Gray paint underneath the deck lid here. Our gas fill is back here. And up here we would have a reverse light. There's our brake light, running light, turn signals, and everything there. You can see an old South Dakota AAA sticker. Has some minor damage there on the back where it looks like something tapped it, broke the handle there and emblem. That's really the only body damage on the car. The rest of this car is very straight. Has great lines, especially with the no post. You have an aftermarket mirror on here. Just never seen one like this. Kind of neat. Do have the canted headlights, which was on the 61 to 62 Chryslers. All in all, not a bad car. Originally planned on fixing this one up, getting it driving and everything, but I got way too many cars, so I'm probably going to see about letting this one go. And we got the air conditioned by air temp decal on the back glass, since it's got factory air, which is really neat. There you have it, 1961 Chrysler Newport 4-door hardtop Highlander package. I know it's getting kind of dark, so the camera might not be picking up the best. There is a tropical storm or something coming, so not sure if I'll be able to get better footage before it starts pouring rain here soon. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on the 61 Chrysler Newport Highlander. Not a real long video or too in-depth because I can't drive the car. It needs some work, so till the car is drivable, you can't really do a whole lot. But you get the basic ideas of the design, what a Chrysler Highlander is, and kind of see, you know, the features of the car without getting too in-depth with it. So hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, then you probably enjoyed it. And I got plenty of other videos, so be sure to check those out. Don't forget to check out my Instagram at Obsolete Automotive, as well as my Patreon and Facebook discussion group. I have links to those in the description if you want to check those out. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it, and catch you on the next one.